Day 32 to day 40. On day 32 I woke up and the sky was red. It felt like the game wanted to warn me about something big. The monsters were stronger now. They came in waves like 20 at once, and I had to run around swinging my sword like crazy. I was yelling and laughing because it was scary but also so fun. I found out that the spaceship needed crystals from the desert, so I packed food and left my base, and when I got there storms were blasting in my face. I almost lost all my health, but then I saw a glowing crystal sticking out of the ground, and when I grabbed it my energy bar jumped. I ran home and put it into the spaceship, and it started humming louder than before like a real engine. Getting ready. On day 39 a giant monster with 4 heads attacked and my whole base shook, but I climbed the tower and shot arrows at it until finally it fell. That night I felt like the hero of the world. Day 41 to day 50. Now the spaceship was demanding fuel cells, so I had to go into the frozen mountains again. This time I was ready with warm armor, and I carried torches to keep me alive. On day 43 I slipped on the ice and almost fell into a huge crack, but somehow I jumped to safety. My heart was beating so fast I thought I was going to lose everything. Then I saw the ice wolves again, and they chased me, but this time I was stronger. I pulled out my glowing sword and slashed through them until they ran away. I found the fuel cell buried under the snow, and I carried it back to the spaceship. It was heavy but worth it, because when I placed it inside the lights on the rocket exploded with power. By day 49 the nights were insane. Giant flying monsters were circling above our base and shooting fireballs down, and we were running and screaming and fighting back with arrows and shields. On day 50 I looked at the sky and saw the spaceship beam reaching up to the stars. Day 51 to day 61. The next 10 days were the wildest of all, because the monsters were now attacking groups with bosses leading them. On day 52 I almost lost my farm because a monster stomped through the fence and crushed my carrots, but luckily I rebuilt it stronger with stone walls. By day 55 the game gave me a new blueprint for a laser cannon, and oh my gosh, it was amazing. It shot beams of light that burned through enemies so fast. I placed 2 cannons next to the spaceship, and every night they blasted monsters away like fireworks. On day 58 I got a surprise message saying the spaceship was 80% ready, and my character jumped around in excitement. But the game also got harder because the bosses were spawning every single night. On day 61 the biggest boss yet appeared. It was taller than my whole tower with glowing red arms and a scream that shook the ground. We fought for so long my health bar was almost empty, but finally we won and the spaceship lights turned golden. Day 62 to day 70. On day 62 I woke up to explosions. The monsters were now attacking with bombs. They threw fire at the walls, and I was running around with a bucket of water trying to save my base. I laughed so hard because it looked crazy. My whole farm was on fire and I was screaming, "No, my carrots, not my carrots." By day 64 I found out that I could build a shield generator to protect my base, so I placed it near the spaceship and it made a glowing blue bubble around everything. The monsters kept slamming into it, but they bounced back and I was jumping around screaming, "Yes, it actually works." On day 67 the game gave me a side quest to find a hidden cave in the jungle, and I went there, and wow, it was full of glowing mushrooms and bats flying everywhere. Inside the cave was another crystal, and when I touched it my whole screen flashed and my sword upgraded into a crystal blade. By day 70 I felt unstoppable, like I was the queen of survival. Day 71 to day 80. On day 71 the game went nuts. It started spawning 2 bosses at once, 1 giant spider and 1 stone golem. They were destroying everything. I had to run and climb the tower, and my laser cannons were blasting them while I was shooting arrows from above. It took all night, but when the sun finally came up both bosses exploded and dropped rare loot. I got golden armor and I was screaming like crazy. By day 74 the spaceship was 90% ready. The screen told me, "Get prepared, the final challenge is coming." So I started gathering food, weapons, and building traps all around my base. I made lava pits and spike walls, and my place looked like a fortress. On day 77 there was a blood moon, and oh my gosh, the whole sky was red. The monsters spawned non-stop. It felt like hundreds of them. I was fighting all night. My hands were shaking, but I survived. By day 80 the spaceship announced only 2 more crystals needed. Day 81 to day 90. On day 81 I had to travel to the volcano biome. It was so hot my health kept dropping and I had to eat food non-stop just to stay alive. Lava monsters attacked me from everywhere. They threw fireballs and chased me into the caves. I almost gave up, but then I found the glowing red crystal sitting on a rock surrounded by lava. I grabbed it and ran for my life. My health was at 1 heart, but I made it back to base. By day 85 I was stronger than ever. The spaceship was glowing like the sun and everyone in the game could see it from miles away. On day 88 the biggest storm hit my base. The sky turned black, lightning everywhere, and monsters came in endless waves. It was like the game wanted to stop me before the end, but my traps, my cannons, and my crystal blade saved me. I fought all night without sleep. By day 90 I placed the second to last crystal into the spaceship, and it said 1 more to go. Day 91 to day 99. On day 91 I knew this was the final stretch. The last crystal was hidden in the darkest dungeon under the ocean. I built a boat and sailed across the waves, and sharks kept attacking, but I stabbed them with my blade and laughed like crazy when I dove under the water. The screen got dark and scary, but I found the entrance to the dungeon. Inside there were skeleton monsters everywhere, and I had to fight through room after room until finally I saw the last crystal floating in the air. I grabbed it, and the whole dungeon started to splash with water rushing, and I swam out as fast as I could and barely made it alive. On day 96 I returned to my base with the final crystal, and everyone was cheering. I placed it into the spaceship, and suddenly the rocket started shaking and the countdown began. Day 97 monsters attacked harder than ever, all bosses at once. Every creature I had ever fought came back like an army. My base was shaking, my cannons were firing, my sword was glowing, and I was screaming, "This is insane." On day 99 the spaceship doors opened and the game told me, "You survived." I climbed inside the rocket and blasted into the sky, the world exploding behind me, and I felt like the greatest survivor ever.